Ah, bonjour, mes amis. DJ Rossebert from Gay Paris, talking to you live, motherfuckers. There is the Afro time, mes amis. Bonsoir, bonjour, bonjour, bonsoir. West Ham are going last minute, spending crazy, according to reports, with obviously the Magassa deal happening after a slight afternoon, evening hitch by the sounds of it, and then waking up this morning to a beautiful Paris and to find out that we'd had a 42 million pound in total deal agreed with Southampton overnight. With apparently Fernando's already travelling down to London for his medical today. Now, makes a good point. Some people. What we've got now? I'm on my phone. So Michael says, "Where has the money come from?" Aha. Two schools of thought, my friends. Three schools of thought potentially. First one, Paqueta. Yes, that could be it. And trying to get the Eiffel Tower in the background. Paqueta could be that. It could be it. He could be off to Spurs. I would assume that we would need some more players in for that to happen. In all honesty, however, recent reports in the Guardian, and it's something that I've heard rumblings about for a little bit of a time, is that potentially West Ham are going to be selling 49% of the women's side to an American equity firm. Again, it's the US. It's all about the US with West Ham at the moment, and it does seem that that could happen, which would obviously benefit us from a PSR perspective, having other people also seen the likes of Chelsea. I'm just put my backpack on. I'm stuck. The likes of Chelsea and stuff having done that as well. That could be a case. That could be a case. What we got here? Are you still shell shocked with the mass dislike of your Sky performance? I think there was P8 PM. Not necessarily shell shocked, but I think it was the comments were 50-50. Comments were 50-50. And as always, I try and represent. And there were some nice comments, not so nice comments as well, and I understand that totally. But from my perspective, I've never changed my stance. I've never changed who I am. I'm never going to change who I am. And some people got it. There was some subtle digs at the lack of activity on the board, but maybe it wasn't for some people. It was too subtle to find out. But end of the day, it's my opinion. If you want to get your opinion, sign up for all that type of stuff, and it all goes along in the cave. That we do. So thank you, anyway, PM, for being. Thank you very much. What have we got here? Bonjour, member of the Croix family. Bonjour, again, possibly. All right, Russ. So is this where the Sky money takes you? I was literally, so they phoned me like Tuesday night when I was watching the game in the French. I was watching Mrs. Budden wasn't particularly happy with me watching the game in a restaurant. It was lovely though, lovely restaurant called Pink Mama, and yeah, they said, "Oh, can you come on?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." It was meant to be just the fact there's maybe two of us on there. There's meant to be sort of me as more sort of pro Potter, and there was going to be someone else who was a Potter out person, but the Potter out person didn't turn up. So very much it. That's why it might not have sounded as balanced as maybe it would have been with two of us. So there we go. Just so you know. What we got here? Bonjour, bonjour. Any truth in the Victor story? Well, it's not just Victor. We've been linked with the whole city. My trousers get forward. We've been linked with the whole city goalkeeper as well. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing for Mads. I think that's a bad thing for Areola, potentially, the second keeper syndrome. I don't think it's for Mads. I still think, in terms of Mads, he's only played a couple of games. And I think Rob Green said he only played one game since April. So let's see what happens with Mads going forward. I think it's still very early on in his West Ham career. Let's see. Why are you walking around Blackpool? Very good. What we got here? Getting fame onto what we got here. So I'm just going to go through the comments. There's so many comments. Is everyone a little bit excited that we're going to be signing some people? Now fucking time to talk. User before we came across. Thank you, User Smith. I mean, you're going to please everyone. Yeah, I'm not. I think if you had someone who would rant and rave, you get people say, "Oh, well, you make us look like lunatics on telly. So for me, I'm always a balanced person. I'm always someone who tries to, if I'm going to be subtle, I did make points that we hadn't invested at the right time, and we still very much. But no, it's there was and that's what you take with everything. It's like on these YouTube videos. I probably get about 70% people in positive and 30% negative, and then if we do really well, that 30% becomes about 15%. Things change, and I'm thick-skinned enough to make part of those decisions. What we going to say? How worried are you about the defence, Russ? Very worried, but I think that midfield, if we get that midfield sorted, I mean, we have been linked as well with Maguana as well, and Nathan Ake. So I don't know if we'll get as many as that, but we'll wait and see. Apparently, we've sold 49%. That's basically how we're going to come across. It's going to help PSR. Obviously, you see many, unlike others, like the Blue Co, who sold it to their own company. We sold it to a group of investors, and I think, in a roundabout way, I think that's a good thing for the men's side as well, because yes, it helps us with PSR for the club, so you can spend a bit more, but maybe reallocated it too. But also, it's another American company, and we're talking about changing ownerships and things like that. That's where you're most likely going to get new money coming in terms of ownership is from the US, if it ever happens. I don't think it will, but it's a foot in the door in that respect for some people. So it might appease some like that if they see the long-term game. The question is, will these signings make a difference in the 5-3-2? No idea. Russ, can't say too much, guys. Can't say too much. Like Charlton, I'm sure he was biting his stuff. I mean, I think. I mean, I'm always quite fair, I think, and I try and say things in a not a diplomatic way, but I'm not a rant and raver. That's not my style. There's plenty of other channels on there if you want to go and rant and rave and listen to them. That's fine. We don't do that here, really. We get upset. We're upset as you. We're all fans. Yes, I've been at West Ham working there for 25 years now, so not all under the Sullivan era. I've worked under several other eras, the Biscuit Barons, all those types of people as well. And before then, I was a season ticket holder 15 years as well. So for me, it was always, I've always been a West Ham fan. That's why I am primarily first. But it's not my nature to rant and rave. And if you don't like it, fair enough. As I said, there's about 15 other YouTube channels you can watch. I'm not going to change who I am. It's who I am. Because then it's false, then, isn't it? And then it's not being true to myself. Please shout. Cheese eating, surrender buckets. There we go. Monkeys are cheese eating, surrender monkeys. There we go. That deserves a like. There's a guy though who looks to be quite funny. Bonjour. Kihan James. Jums. How are you doing, Kieran? Go watch the old school Hammers. They were on last night, having a good old natter about the board. So if you want your board bashing and stuff, go and watch that. That's what we try and do at the network. We try and have a spectrum so people can dip and choose what content they want to watch with us. France looks great. It's a bit overcast today, but the last couple of days have been glorious. 28, 29, lovely. Absolutely glorious. I've had a lovely little riverboat along the Seine, just from the Eiffel Tower, just below it. We had dinner outside the Eiffel Tower. Anyone on Instagram? Can I push it? There we go. Exciting times. Mrs. Budden and young Budden are at the Dior Museum. So I thought, you know what? I'm not going to come and chat to you guys. Gatesy, hope you're doing well. Nice to see Gatesy's back. He's nice. Nice to see you, man. Russ, what are your thoughts on the current player led you taking the club down? Personally, I'm not to blame if a fella asks the current. What are you supposed to do? Like, what are your thoughts on the current player led you talking the club down? Well, I think players talk to each other, don't they? In the same way that players talk up players. So if you are led to believe Magassa, Tilo Kira's had a massive impact in that sign-on, and potentially why he turned down Nottingham Forest in favour for us because of what Tilo Kira said. Obviously, he's a Monaco player. So in the same way that players talk all the time, I have no doubt players are, they have WhatsApp groups and talk about maybe how poor, this has been and that been, and it might be West Ham, and it doesn't surprise me at all. Not everyone. It's not a happy ship, is it? At the moment, let's be honest, it's not a happy ship. The likes of Edson Alba's been moved on, Kadu's been moved on. They're trying to move on people who maybe not put in the right way. Doesn't surprise me at all, Gatesy. People talk all the time. Same as internally, people talk all the time as well, isn't it? Russ, I'm also hearing we could possibly be signing. Yes, Francesco Duge from Michelin. Yeah, he's a player we've linked to quite a while. If you watched the Russ Rumour rating, someone spoke about at the beginning of the transfer window. 21, 22-year-old, I believe he is, from Michelin. Get a decent price on him. Excited about him as well. Because I wanted someone like a someone like a what's it called, Idrissa Gay or someone like that. So he would do that role for sure and add some pace. He's very, very fucking quick. He's very, very fucking quick. Not signed to announce. Totally right. Russ, mate, I get what you were saying on Sky. Can't be on like that is for TalkSport. Bit worried these signings are being funded unless it's Danny Kaczynski. As I said, there's three options. One is we do have a little bit of money. We've always had a bit of money set aside. When we were from the ITKs at the beginning of the transfer window, I remember doing a show called, I called it lastminute.com, because it was lastminute.com in terms of what we were going to bring in. They said we should do our business late in the transfer market, and they can't get much later than sort of 2 or 3 days before it closes. That's one option. Two option is it could be the Paqueta signing being sold, and with Paqueta going, there's some money there. But as I said, Dennis, West Ham are due to sell 49% of the women's team to a US consortium. So that would definitely help us with PSR. So it wouldn't surprise me if that was part of the reason or a combination of all three. I still think in the Paqueta situation, he's still got a couple of charges over his head in terms of the non-compliance charges, which were upheld. So there could be a risk for financial or maybe a couple of games ban as well. So I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. But I mean, whoever these guys come, obviously Magassa and Fernandez, they would come in and replace the midfield too. So still there is a Paqueta-shaped hole in the side needed. So there we go. Have we swapped him for Levy? After the two in today, how many more do you think? I think at least another two. I still think we're going to get the second goalkeeper in now, whether it is Victor, whether it's the whole City guy. And I still think there's going to be Duche will come in, possibly even with another centre-back, potentially. But it's going to be a mad rush. And the trouble is, it's what I said in Sky Sport. It's like we're still in pre-season now because we've done all our business so late because of reluctance of the board to pay money up front, and save 15 million quid on Mads. But if we, 3 or 4 places in the Premier League, that pretty much takes that 15 million off the ticket already. So you'd have made your money by finishing 10th instead of 12th, for example. So, yeah, I still think it's very much pre-season. It feels like a pre-season at the moment. What we got here? Can we keep Paqueta? Praying, let's hope so. Son Fernandez. Rumours of, it's not the rumours. I think it's going to happen. I think it's happening in the talks now. It was reported in the Guardian today. It's something I've known for a little bit, but I haven't been allowed to talk about it. And I'm surprised. Part of me is a bit surprised it's coming out now rather than after the window, but I think you can all put 2 and 2 together then. So, yeah, there we go. What we got next? If we buy the women's team, then the men's to buy place. What does that mean? It means it helps us with PSR, basically. I got confirmation on that. Selling the women's team. As I said, Chelsea did it, but they sold it to their own company. We're actually selling it not to our own company. But as I said, it's. I think it could be an interesting start in in potentially new ownership for the club, for the men's side. US, I think, is the area we're going to be most likely to fish in. As I said, the likes of, you've got New Balance, you've got Trip Smith there, you've got the World Cup as well happening next summer. There's going to be a lot of interest in men's football. Women's football in America is huge already, so it doesn't surprise me. They want to get into the WSL. And, let's see what happens. Was I responsible for pressing the Mr. Moon? But I wasn't. That was actually next door. Next door was the police control room. And Mr. Moon was a fire alarm, basically. Someone had a fag for in the toilets. So Mr. Moon, that was basically saying he's in the building. He's like, fire alert. Mr. Brian Moon came up, get running, because that was a bomb scare. Didn't hear that too many times. Darren, hope you're well. Blackpool, how did you guess? No need to change. Fucking happy holiday in Paris. I'm back. I'm back to get the Eurostar back tomorrow. So I think I missed the Graham Potter press conference, which is tonight. No, I think it's tomorrow, the Graham Potter press conference. So I'll be back for that. Lucky you, lucky bastards. And then normal business will be resumed. Myself, Anton flies back tonight as well. So just for the end of the transfer window and a victory against Nottingham Forest on Sunday, we will be back, my friends. We will be back. I'm feeling more confident because of the signs, but less confident. Potter, fair enough. Don't apologise for being sensible. People always have to realise that West End employment that you wouldn't be an idiot. Thank you very much. As a club, as I said, the club have always been very supportive of what I've done. They've never told me to say anything. They've never told me to take anything down. They watch everything. I know that. They're very supportive of the fact that we're the only channel out there to do anything specifically on the academy, particularly amongst the academy. I mean, I know obviously I know the academy guys very well. They're very complimentary of what we do around there. And look, at the end of the day, I'm in a position where I can talk about it. That's how I talk. If I spoke differently on Sky, that wouldn't be who I am. And that might be why I've been asked on a couple of times. Maybe because I'm not a rant and raver. I'm not someone they have to press the swear button for and stuff like that. I don't know. But and again, if you listen to the interview yesterday, there's no reference about questions about the board or spending. I spoke about, but I actually brought up the lack of signings and the spend. So I actually did try and push that agenda along. So people take things out of it as they want to. What are your thoughts on the rumour that we're selling? Yeah, I've spoken about that one. Magassa said Potts was a reason for signing, playing against him in 21 times. Tried to take this channel down by wearing sexy kilt. Indeed. Technically, we could field one of the youngest squads after these. Yeah, how mental was that? From having one of the oldest squads to having potentially one of the youngest squads. That would never happen. What are your thoughts on this to Freddie Potts this season and beyond? For me, there's a place for Freddie in this side, and you don't go into a team with just two midfielders. You need a team of midfielders. And Freddie, I think, has got a great future ahead of him. I think potentially he could be a future captain at West Ham. And I think, you're going to get sometimes where we play Fernandes, Magassa and Potts in a side, and actually you can play those three without it looking slow and awkward and not creative in the same way that we did that. When we play a three with Souček, Gierdo and JWP, change that to a three with Magassa, Fernandes and Potts. That makes me a little bit moist. That makes me a little bit horny. I'll be honest. Makes me a little bit excited. And that's what being a football fan. Remember, you're meant to be excited at the team selection. There's ways we can change things. You can play that three, or you can play two and a Paqueta, or you could play a Paqueta and a one up front and a Bowen. You could go to a back four. You could do a 4-3-2-1, a 4-3-1, or whatever. There's loads of ways. By having a number of decent players, you can have those options. And I think, to be honest, we haven't had those options so far this season. JP might get jobs, indeed. There's enjoy France. My missus is French and talks about northern France like we do, Luton, including Paris. Very true. Although Flo's fallen in love with Paris. Flo has literally fallen in love with it, and she wants to live here. An evening boat ride along the Seine, seeing all this stuff and the music and the food. Yeah, she's proper falling in love with this. Here or Dubai. I don't think she'll be in Hornchurch when she's an adult, in all honesty. Neither will I, to be fair. At least when I get entertainment at the transfer window. Exactly. And that sort of damp squib that is the end of the transfer window, we might actually get a bit excited. It might not be great, as I said, it could be that Paqueta leaves. It could be that Agaire's leaving, that's another potential. It could be Ariola's leaving as well. That's another potential, particularly if we're looking to get that second goalkeeper in, which I think might happen. But yeah, it's been a bit quiet the last few days, but it just seems to have ramped up. Is it as a consequence of the planned protests that are happening? Wouldn't surprise me as well, trying to deflect it away. A lot of fans are excited now by the transfer business. But, for me, for some it'll be too little too late. For some it'll be, and I get that totally. I totally understand that. Hang on, what's happening with the ladies? 49% being sold to the US. Adam, US again. With you and me, we've been saying this for months, absolute months. Hope you're well, Colin, Russ. Do you know what? They're not. Are the French still annoying? Do you know what? Everyone's been absolutely lovely. Everyone, and that's what. But the thing is, all the horrible ones, they're down the south of France, isn't it? They move out of Paris for the whole of August. But honestly, all the staff, all the waiting, the food's been amazing. It's a really cracking deal. Literally, I've got a really nice 4-star hotel. It is sort of around the Moulin Rouge. It's like in the red light district, but I quite like that. Plus that's 2 nights, plus the Eurostar, all in about 500 quid. Absolute bargain. Absolute bargain. Afternoon, Mark. Hope you're well. Oyo Russ, Jay. Hope you're well. Who signed the petition to get out of the club? We actually, I think Nick's coming on. Nick and Anton are doing a show about it next week. So you can wait. Can you show us the Eiffel Tower? It's that big thing there. Can you see it? It's there. The Eiffel Tower. There we go. The Eiffel Tower, that big lamppost, the same size. Yeah. I mean, look. I mean, to be honest, yeah, you're right. It's the same size as that lamppost. But the Eiffel Tower is about another half a mile that way. It is quite imposing. Sky just wouldn't allow Nick. Sadly, they are woke. I don't think they could press. I don't think they could press the swear button so quickly. That's the trouble for all these things. But at the end of the day, they obviously picked. I mean, they were trying to get a story. They were asking me questions. As I said, when I was originally asked to come on, there was meant to be a Potter in and a Potter out person, but there wasn't. So maybe you would have got more of a balanced potential view in the Potter out person not turning up. If he did turn up, I don't know. But that's just me, my friends. What we got here? The Tower of it. Ladies, pre-season won 3-0, then lost 2-0 to them. Yep, spending the. They don't pay me. They don't get paid by Sky at all. Actually, yes, I've got a bit of spit on there. Sorry. Don't get paid nothing. That's the truth. Sky don't pay you to come on as a guest. Nope. And then as Gary would know if he's in the chat, if you got to be careful putting it up because they'll demonetize it. So it isn't really, it's not. It might sound exciting, but it's not that. I was in Paris. I had the phone on. I had the phone on an espresso machine to try and get the window open. So I didn't have any of my setup. I didn't have any of my audio or anything. So living the dream in that way. Living the dream. Are you going to see Stade de France? No. I'm going home in a minute. What we lack is a bar steward. Yeah, I've said that. I've said that so long. What's happening with Emerson and Guido? I think they'll be both moved on. Unsurprisingly, I think Guido will go as soon as we confirm Magassa. And then, yeah. Wouldn't be surprised to see a late deal for Thomas Souček potentially as well. I know someone possibly not keen about selling, but if you bring in Fernandez, you bring in Magassa, he's not going to sell JWP. Rodriguez will go. Obviously, Alvarez might keep Souček, but I wouldn't be surprised if Freddie Potts as well. You might see him go if decent money comes in, but will decent money come in? I don't know. Emerson, I think, is all but gone. Can only get excited to actually win a game. Love your delivery style. Always will, man. I don't flip flop. So how many signings do you see as actually? Oh, can I have your favourites? So we'll have two in. Hopefully by the time we play Forest, they'll hopefully confirmed tonight, if not tomorrow, I'd imagine. And a double signing. I love a fucking double signing. Do you remember when we signed like Di Canio and Vivian Foe, God rest his soul, or when we signed who is it? I think we signed Razor and Javier Marquez at the same time. I think we signed Joey Beach from Moncur. I love a double signing. So hopefully we can have a double signing. I still think there's at least 2 more coming in. Who they'll be, I don't know. I still think a goalkeeper will come in, whether it's Victor or the whole City guy will be linked with as well. And it could be even 3. Frank Ulino Duja from Rushalat, we're interested in him, and also interested in Maguana, centre half, Samuel Maguana, or possibly Nathan Ake as well. I still think there's going to be at least a few bits and bobs. Food was not included. It wasn't included, but it's. I mean, anyone who gets you. Oh no. Anyone who goes in Eurostar knows that probably is cheap for Eurostar alone, let alone that and the hotel. So absolute bargain. Right, let's have a scroll through. Too many. Be careful. Nah, I'm all right. We're fine. Buttons on the loose, slagging hammering. But yeah, exactly. Thank you, Paul. Much appreciated. Thank you very, very much, old man, as well. Don't pay you, as he's. No, they don't. They don't pay me. They don't. I'd love them to pay me. I wouldn't be staying at the one. I'd be staying. There's one over there. It's like 5-star Dior hotel. I'd be staying there, not fucking in the middle of the red light district, to be honest, mate. And certainly would go business class, not standard. Do the Finalizing that pay you? No, they don't pay you either. As founding, as part of the founding team, if they ever sold the app, we would get money for that. But no, they get paid by them at all. But for them, obviously, that's why things like the Sky thing. But then again, we don't pay for that either. So that's a really shit job, really. I want to see Budgie on Sky when drunk. What I wouldn't give. That's what I said. I'd love a Craig Dawson, Scott. We can't give you Hackney. Fuck what the little star would say. Can't read that. Tevez Mascherano, great shout. Some good news at last. Hopefully, to be honest, it means that we don't say nothing until they're not signed until we get the picture 5 minutes before the social media post comes up. Ambrose says, think Orphan might go out on loan. Yeah, he hasn't been out on loan yet, so I think he will go out on loan. He's never been out on loan, so Lewis was always going to go out on loan, in my opinion. Probably someone like Norwich. Obviously, Liam Manning, former West Ham youth team coach, Bristol City manager last year with George Earthy. I think he may take him. That's where I could see George going, to be honest. Not George, Lewis. Hotson, Kitson, Mascherano, Tevez, yeah, great shout. Sullivan. Some of it has a Freudian slip, wasn't it? When you thought I was pro board. Sullivan return date, Tottenham Hotspur, we've been told. Let's wait for a few more. Everyone switch each other. Love it. I think I'm at the bottom of the thing. Question: is Potter a dead man walking, or has he got the dreaded board approval? I think he's had the board approval for a while. Anyone who when we had the Karen Brady interview, she very much spoke about him being the having hoped he did a good job. So I'm trying to get a stylish picture. Hope he did a good job, but then again, not he will do a good job. He hoped he did a good job. So I think, as I said, I think if we end up having no points on the board after 6 games, then he's gone in it. As is the way, as is the West Ham way. I'm going to be walking and crossing Chuff down to Mrs. Budman. As is the West Ham way in terms of that. 6 games and you're gone. And I think that could happen. That could really happen. How long have you been in Paris? We came in Tuesday and we're going home this evening. Only a couple of days, short little trip. Flo wanted to do a few bits. She wanted to go to the Eiffel Tower. She wanted to see it all lit up. She wanted to go to the Jellycat patisserie place at the Galerie Lafayette. So done all that. She's try some food, all that type of stuff. What we got here? Potter will stay longer than most would, so Brady could save face. I think Potter's gone after the next games and Scott. Canute was the French. He was, but he ended up playing for. Was it Guinea? I think it was Guinea. Carl says Paqueta to Spurs then. Not necessarily, my friend. Not necessarily. As I said, for me, there's a couple of reasons why. I think we're always going to buy some players, and we put in about 20-30 million already. So that would have accounted for Magassa signing and a bit. I think I think money may well have been invested by the club as well. As you said, under PSR rules, they can spend a bit of money. Maybe the recent protests being agreed, the petition, stuff like that. We happened before. Do you know at Burnley, and then we end up spending loads of money. It does seem, it has to get to a point before, money is spent. The other reason is, we can spend now because we're due to sell 49% of the women's team to an American private equity firm, which brings up the PSR, means we can spend more. So actually doing a bit of loophole, which everyone else is fucking doing, so why can't we? One credit card over another. Exactly. So, I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, it's exciting. It's always exciting when we're into players, and players. I think, in terms of Fernandez, particularly Fernandez, a player that most people wanted. Most people wanted it, so we'll see. Someone's put about Victor Boniface. I mean, I don't personally. I don't like the man. I've never really liked him. He's played at West Ham a couple of times, and I felt him quite disrespectful to the fans. But once he's in your shirt, it might be different. And there's no doubt the quality he possesses, and we'll have to wait and see. I'll be surprised if that one happens. In all honesty, I'll be surprised that happens. But stranger things have happened at sea, innit? Stranger things have happened at sea, and if ever it epitomises what a West Ham fan is like, it's the fact is, you go to bed, you wake up, and we've had a fee agreed for Fernandez, and he's down for a medical. We haven't had to do any, like, how did that happen? It reminds me, and I like when things like that happen. Things go under the radar. None of the ITKs picked up as well. No one said nothing. I didn't hear any rumblings either. So, I love stuff like that when it happens like that, just completely out of the way. Is Boniface the modern day Bellamy? Quite possibly, Gatesy. He's not a West Ham player now, so at the moment, so I'll slag him off, and then when he's one, I will slag. But for me, he wasn't a very nice person around the West Ham fans when Bayer Leverkusen came to London Stadium in the Europa League. I didn't like him at all. Very, he was just not a very nice person. But as you said, he could be that bastard that we need, and then it could go. He could be an absolute world beater for us. He's got all the attributes. I wouldn't be surprised if get a couple of red cards because of the type of player he is. But yeah, it's all good in the hood. All good in the hood. As I said, no one's signed until we actually assign them. But it's the last minute shopping spree that we were told were going to happen. So I think part of me thinking, am I really surprised it's happening? Because we were told. They said it. It did say it was going to happen. So, and it has. Just slightly concerned around why, what the implications of it happening, in terms of, is Paqueta gone? I don't know. Is Agard gone? We know that Sunderland are very interested in him, but we haven't bought a defender. So for me, I don't think it's Agard, because we haven't got the backup there. So we don't. We've been told we won't sell players until we bring them in. So could that mean Tommy Souček? Souček's going to go. Everton have had a bid in, obviously, are interested in him. We know Guillermo Rodriguez is gone. Emerson, I think we've got cover for Emerson already. So there we go. What's this? Let's have a look. Good news. But hello, John from Thailand. What's the catch? If we're going to go all out to fix the club, a Dawson defender and the classy Antonio, those two words are the same, would give us the chance to compete and hope. I mean, to be honest, the goal, the goal scoring side, I think if you put if Diouf gets positions and puts them on the plate for Fulcru, he'll score them. You know, if Bowen's given half a chance, he'll score them. You know, and I think the fact is we're not creating enough chances, and then when we do counter, when the other team does counter, we're not strong enough in the midfield. I think improving the midfield is critical, and bringing in these two, brilliant. Oh mate, this is like this is like, was it something Rodero Drive? And honestly, like Louis Vuitton, like, you know, this is all, yeah, it's mental, this road. Flows at the bottom at the not going to get these shots, fuck that. But he's in the shops. He's gone to the Dior Museum with Joe. But yeah, oh yeah, some big shops down here. A defender is the one piece of the pie I want. I would, like you said, I would love. I'm very similar. I think our defence has gone downhill since Craig Dawson left, honestly. So having a, but there's not many of those gritty centre halves anymore now. So I think potentially if you brought in someone like Samuel Maguala or even Nathan Ake, I think could do a job for us, particularly in that left-hand side. Lewis Dunk, yes, a great show. Obviously, we were linked with the other Brighton centre half, weren't he? Can't remember his name, but we were linked with him, and maybe we go back in for him. I think he was out of contract, or I don't know if he's gone anywhere. I haven't checked, but there we go. Dunk is old but golden. Yeah, as I've always said, I don't think everyone you buy is going to be a 29-year-old, 22-year-old, 21-year-old, you know, one for the future. You do need something to work with and build on. I mean, as I said, even under Potters at Brighton, even they had the likes of they had Dunk there, but also they had Welbeck, they had Milner, Lallana. You need those types of players in there as well. Chelsea, they are teams that could beat us if we had a full time. Say Sunderland, the game is really bad, so we can catch up. We can sign Victor Elise catching balls. Well, we'll see. That is the most bizarre one to me, is the Victor one. Absolutely, Adam Webster, that's the one. Gatesy, well done, son. Yeah, we were linked with him, weren't we? Yeah, the Victor one is a strange one. And then we were linked, literally that evening, we were linked with Victor, we were linked with Onana, and we then were linked with the guy from Hull City as well. But anyway, peeps, it's been an absolute pleasure. Don't forget to give it a like. I've forgotten to put the monetization on this, so I'm going to go monetize it now. But take care. How about Lee Chapman and David Burrows, the double signing? Oh, lovely. Got to love a double signing. Probably, the last time would have been Mascherano Tevez with it, double signing. Must be. Let's see. Anyway, take care, everyone. Stay safe. I'm outside the Dior shop. Literally, I'm walking around here in a cold sweat, a real cold sweat. It's like Saint Laurent, Paco Rabanne, Dior. You've got the Dior shop. You've got Tiffany's. You've got Louis Vuitton. I'm actually shitting myself. I'm coming out in a cold sweat. Oh my god. I've got the card though, so this is fun. Da Vinci over there, don't worry. Anyway, take care. Stay safe. Stay warm. Give it a like, and I'll see you soon. Much love, peeps. Love you.